The first thing I saw when I pulled into my gravel driveway was a bright red "No Trespassing" HOA property sign nailed dead center on my pine tree. The problem? This was my pine tree, the same one I planted 15 years ago, before the HOA even existed. The air was still and sharp that morning, the kind of mountain quiet you can hear your heartbeat in. 3 years away hadn't changed much about my cabin, except for the fresh asphalt the HOA had laid just past my fence line and the cluster of new mailboxes bolted into what used to be my wildflower patch. I killed the engine and stepped out. Gravel crunched under my boots. A new security camera, white plastic, pointed right at my door, whirred as it tracked me. Welcome home. I unlocked the front door, half expecting dust, maybe a few cobwebs. Instead, I found a violation notice taped right to the glass. Unauthorized occupancy. Subject to HOA enforcement. Immediate contact required. Signed, Karen D. Holloway, HOA President. I let out a slow breath. 3 years away for work, just long enough for someone like Karen to forget boundaries. I knew her reputation, power-drunk, controlling, the kind who measures grass height with a ruler. But trespassing onto my lot? That was new territory. I set my bags down, snapped a few photos and walked the perimeter. Sure enough, HOA signage ran 20 feet past my deed line. Survey stakes that once marked the boundary were missing. In their place, fresh white posts marked Phase 2 HOA Common Area. I laughed under my breath. Bold move, Karen. That evening, as the sun dropped behind the ridge, a black SUV rolled up the road. She stepped out. Short blonde hair, pearl earrings, clipboard already in hand. "Excuse me," she called, her tone brisk and artificial. "This area's private HOA property now. You can't just move back in." I stayed calm. "Karen, I own this cabin. Deeded land. County lot 48B, always have." She smiled like I was a child explaining math wrong. "Not anymore. We absorbed this section last year, new annexation map. You should have received notice." I tilted my head. "Funny. County assessor didn't get that memo." Her expression tightened. "If you don't comply, I'll have to report you for trespassing on HOA grounds." I could have argued right there, but I've learned, never argue without paper. So I just nodded. "Sure. Send whatever you think you need to." She left, wheels spinning on the asphalt she'd poured across my ditch. I stood there in the fading light, phone camera rolling, as her license plate disappeared into the trees. That night I opened my laptop, logged into the county GIS portal, and downloaded the official plat map. There it was. Lot 48B, still outside HOA jurisdiction, clear as daylight. I overlaid Karen's annexation PDF from the HOA website. Her version shifted the boundary by 18 feet north, conveniently swallowing my mailbox, driveway, and front yard. Illegal, but clever. The next morning, I drove down to the county recorder's office. The clerk, an older man with half-moon glasses, pulled the file from the drawer. "No record of annexation here," he said, tapping the page. "If they changed a boundary, they forged it." That's when the plan formed. I wasn't just going to reclaim my line, I was going to document every inch of her overreach. Step 1. Reinstall my old trail cameras, hidden under eaves and fence posts. Step 2. Pull the surveyor's notes from my last land inspection. Step 3. Gather timestamps, photos, emails, GPS logs. If Karen wanted to play paperwork war, I'd drown her in chain of custody. That night, I found another notice taped to my truck. "Final warning. Remove unauthorized vehicle." I took a photo of it under the porch light, then laughed quietly. Every violation she left was another nail in her own legal coffin. This was no longer about property lines. This was about proof. 2 days later, my cameras started catching movement. Every afternoon at 4:37 p.m., a silver golf cart rolled up the ridge. Same route, same driver, same clipboard. Karen. She'd stop at my driveway, step out, and take photos like a field inspector. Once, she even stretched a tape measure across the gravel, lips pursed in concentration. The footage was gold. By the end of the week, I had time-stamped video, license plate frames, and audio of her calling my cabin unauthorized construction. Still, I wanted a rock-solid foundation, something irrefutable. So I called Jake Mercer, a licensed surveyor who'd done my boundary inspection back in 2017. He picked up on the first ring. "Ryan Walker? Thought you'd sold that cabin." "Not yet," I said. "But someone's trying to." Jake laughed dryly. "Let me guess. HOA president with a clipboard?" By noon the next day, he was on site, bright orange vest flashing against the timberline. He planted new survey pins, cross-checked with county records, and shook his head. "They shifted your boundary by exactly 18.3 feet. Classic annexation scam. I'll certify this and stamp it." When he left, I slipped the signed survey affidavit into a folder marked Evidence, Property Line. That night, the trail cam near my mailbox caught something else. Karen and two men prying out one of Jake's new stakes. I replayed the footage twice, zoomed in. Clear faces, date, time. Now it was criminal trespass. The next morning I drove to the sheriff's substation. Deputy Collins met me at the counter, a broad-shouldered guy with that calm, seen-it-all tone. I laid out the printed stills, the certified survey, the fake HOA annexation map. He studied each page, then looked up. "They can't touch those markers. That's tampering with boundary survey, State Statute 42-319. Want me to make contact?" "Not yet," I said. "I want a clean record first." He nodded. "Smart. Keep documenting. If they cross your fence again, call dispatch." By week's end, the harassment evolved. My mailbox vanished, replaced with one of the HOA's identical units, now labeled Lot 7. An email arrived from the HOA Compliance Department demanding $480 in annual dues. Attached was a PDF labeled HOA Bylaws 2024, Annexed Phase 2. I opened it and smiled. Section 12C referenced an annexation vote held on April 12th, the same date I was overseas for work. I pulled the county records again. No vote filed. No plat update. It was fiction. That's when I built the timeline. Every notice, every email, every camera clip, sorted by date and category. Then I added GPS pings from my truck and delivery confirmations from my insurance agent, proving the cabin remained outside HOA coverage. The pattern was undeniable. Karen had created a paper mirage to extend her control. But paperwork cuts both ways. I reached out to attorney Miles Denton, a quiet, sharp-eyed property lawyer who'd handled a few HOA overreach cases before. He reviewed my folder over coffee, tapping each exhibit with his pen. "This is textbook boundary fraud," he said. "We'll file a cease and desist and copy the county assessor. If they don't retract, we escalate to civil damages." He leaned back. "Also, get ready for a showdown. People like her don't fold in private." He was right. 3 days after the legal notice went out, Karen stormed up my driveway again, waving the letter like it was radioactive. "You can't sue the HOA," she barked. "We own this area." I kept my phone recording. "You might want to check Section 14 of your own bylaws," I said. "Annexations require county approval. You don't have it." She froze, just a blink, but I caught it on video. Then she said the line that would end her career. "Well, sometimes we adjust the maps to make management easier." I didn't reply. I didn't need to, because by then my cameras, my surveyor, and my lawyer all had her words, her actions, and her forged map in triplicate. The stage was set. The next step wasn't about fences or trees anymore. It was about accountability and making sure the whole neighborhood saw it happen. The night of the HOA meeting, I arrived early. The community centre smelled like floor wax and tension, rows of plastic chairs, a folding table up front, and Karen's nameplate perfectly centred beside a vase of fake daisies. She didn't look up when I walked in, but her clipboard tilted ever so slightly, like a shield. I set my laptop bag on a chair near the front. Inside was everything: surveyor affidavit, deputy's statement, time-stamped footage, and the HOA bylaws she'd rewritten without approval. My lawyer, Miles Denton, sat beside me, calm and unbothered, flipping through the file like he was checking a grocery list. When the meeting started, Karen's tone was sugar-coated steel. "Before we begin," she said, "we need to address the ongoing issue of unauthorized occupancy on Parcel 48B, formerly vacant land." I raised a hand. "Correction. Privately owned land. Deeded, recorded, and now lawyered." Murmurs rippled through the room. A few neighbors turned around, whispering. Karen's eyes narrowed. "Mr. Walker, this isn't the place." Miles stood, voice even. "Actually, it's the perfect place. My client's been accused of trespassing on his own property. We'd like the board and the residents to see why that's a problem." He connected his laptop to the projector. The screen blinked to life. First frame, a time-stamped photo of Karen's red HOA property sign nailed into my pine tree. Next, the official county plat map, glowing in perfect clarity. "You'll notice," Miles said, "the boundary here, unchanged since 2004. No annexation filings exist in the recorder's office. None. Zero." Click. Up came the trail cam footage. Karen and her two helpers pulling up survey stakes at 11:46 p.m. The room went still. Someone coughed. Karen's face drained of colour. That's out of context," she stammered. "We were correcting old markers." Miles didn't blink. "Under state statute 4239, tampering with certified boundary stakes is a criminal act. Each carries a fine of up to 5,000. Click. Then came the email trail, projected for everyone to see. Her compliance warnings demanding dues from non-members. Each one bore her digital signature. The audience started whispering louder now, neighbors shifting, eyes darting between her and the evidence. Karen tried to pivot. "This is a misunderstanding. The annexation was verbally approved." Miles cut in. "Verbal annexations don't exist, Ms. Holloway. And as of yesterday, the county assessor has filed a notice of investigation into your HOA for fraudulent land claims." You could have heard a pin drop. Deputy Collins, who'd been quietly standing in the back, stepped forward just then, hat tucked under his arm. "Evening, folks. Just confirming, our office did receive a formal complaint. We've got clear video evidence of trespass and boundary tampering. We'll be following up." Karen's mouth opened, then closed again. I stood slowly. "For 3 years, this cabin sat empty," I said. "When I came back, I found my driveway repaved, my mailbox stolen, and my land claimed by a committee that never owned it. I don't hate HOAs, but I do hate fraud, and intimidation dressed up as management." Someone in the back clapped once, then another. Within seconds, the whole room joined in, soft, awkward at first, then building. Karen's eyes glistened with anger, or panic, hard to tell. She gathered her papers with shaking hands and muttered, "This meeting is adjourned." She tried to leave, but Deputy Collins stepped aside just enough to make her pause. "Ma'am, I'll need you to stick around for a quick statement." That was the first time I saw her speechless. 2 months later, a notice arrived in my mailbox. The real one, reinstalled exactly where it belonged. The county's report confirmed the HOA's annexation maps were void. Karen resigned, citing health reasons. The new board president sent a formal apology and a check covering survey costs, legal fees, and inconvenience damages. I didn't cash it. I framed it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's official. Now, when I walk the boundary line, the new stakes gleam in the morning light, each one a reminder. If you draw a line in the dirt, defend it with facts, not fury. Neighbours wave again. The golf cart doesn't come by anymore. And that red HOA property sign, it hangs in my workshop now, upside down, right above the words, "Case closed." If you've ever had to stand your ground against an HOA gone rogue, drop your story below. And if you ever find someone moving your fence, measure twice, record once.